So I'm going to start talking about how I UV unwrapped my character. I am just a little bit behind because I was trying to record earlier and it didn't record everything on the screen, but it's here. Quickly, I turn off the modeling toolkit because I don't need it. Most of your UV stuff is right here, but I don't like this whole menu cluttering up my screen. So what I usually end up doing is I add my channel editor, which is if I press Control A, it'll open up the attribute, but if I press it the second time, it'll open up my channel box. Another thing is I don't like these tabs at the top. So I'll right click on it and I'll move it to the right side. Another thing is that this grid space is actually different. If you right click on the grid icon here, it'll give you options. I changed mine to 200 and units and grid lines every 20. If we go to our settings preferences, and under settings right here, it'll show you that it's centimeters, and that's where most of the units are. So if that's the units, then you need to know how big your character is going to be. Humans are about 172 centimeters for male, and my character is a male, so I put him around a little bit taller than that. So yeah, it's about 200, 180 or so units. So I'm going to say apply and close, and that's going to give you this. Otherwise, your grids are going to be really small, and you need to have the right idea of where Texel's density is. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Since we're talking about Texel UV unwrapping, I'm going to open the UV editor. It's under the modeling menu set under UV. So next thing is I don't like this as a pop-up. I'm going to go to UV editor right here, and I'm going to dock it to the right. So I have it right here, and then I'm going to dock this under the channel box. So I can quickly just scroll wheel across this, and it's just easy for me. Next thing, I isolated my character into its own geometry. So I'm going to leave it as is. And you might have seen that I've already unwrapped it, and it does not look great. I mean, it's consistent, but my UVs are not stacked properly. But you do want your UVs to look very consistent. So if you see these check boxes, these checkered boxes are very equal. These are where the seam lines are. The green line is actually crease lines. The white lines are the UV seams. So I just leave this. I like to personally keep the creases so that I know where the character is bending. At least, yeah, at least along those lines, I would like to know that. This seems like it's not right, but anyways, I am going to just automatic this first, and I'll show you a few things. So I select the character. I'm going to select all of this shells, and I'm going to say create automatic, and it's going to give you this crazy mumbo jumbo. I don't like it. It's not a good idea to just go with automatic. I'm going to go to edges, select all of them. So what I did right there is I did shift right click, and I am going to move in so. So all of these seams are now one. Just so that I don't want that. That's just crazy. Who uses UV seams like that? So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edges. I'm going to turn this checkerboard pattern off for just a while, and then I'll come back to it. I'm going to double click, and just easy because I have a good edge flow, and it's a really good idea to keep your edge flows consistent. I'm going to go along the bottom, and it seems like I don't have symmetry on, and I'm putting in twice the effort. So I'm going to turn on symmetry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Control, Shift, right click, and symmetry is right up top and right there. So what you might have also missed is that um, so I'm going to go back to that menu, Control Shift, right click, symmetry, and I also have object mode. So it's not going off of the world space, but rather the object space. And it's also on the x-axis. As you can see, it's going to mirror on the direction of x. So yeah, that's important. If you notice, I have these weird things. Just ignore it. These are creases, so it's not going to affect it. But let's see. So let's start with selections. Edges, I double clicked and it seems like it's mirroring properly. I'm going to do that. I like that. I'm just going to cut right there. So I'm going to say, so I usually, if I'm doing the 3D model stuff and I'm selecting, I'll do the shift right click menus on here. But if I'm doing something based on UVs, I'm going to be on this side. I'm going to say shift, right click, and I'm going to go cut. If you don't find, if you can't seem to get the hang of hotkey menus, it's okay, because the menu is right here, which is under cut and sew. So cut is Shift X if you just want to do that, or if you want to sew it, it's Shift S. Personally, I like move and sew, so that is, uh, let's select something first. So if I shift right click, move and sew is right there, and I like that a lot because it'll move my UV islands. I'll show you in a bit. If you don't want to mess with that either, it's, let's see, this is 3D cut and sew tool. This is also a really neat tool. You can use this whenever. Yeah, so, but the menus are all under UV editor and they're also under cut and sew in the UV toolkit. So once we have done all that, let's go and see our different UV shells. So what I did right there is I went to UV shells by just right clicking and holding, and it'll give you UV shells. I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to go shift right click, unfold, unfold. And some of it's still loading. There you go. Keep in mind that these UV shells are not friendly. Just be careful. I will go over some important things. When you unfold like that, it's going to just cause issues later down the line. So unfold it in a little while. I'm going to undo this so that it doesn't mess up my UVs. Or here, I'll just do it just so that you have an idea. So it's unfolded. You'll see it pretty soon, what the issue is. So I'm going to keep going. I would like to cut, so edge along there, along there, along there, one, double click. And notice how easy it is once you have good edge flow to just select edges really fast. Yeah, so once I do that, I'm just going to quickly select this UV shell because I feel like it's, oh, I'm actually going to, yeah, so I feel like it's decent. I'm just going to shift right click and unfold, unfold. So let's find this UV shell. Notice, this is the error I was talking about earlier. I can't seem to find this UV shell. It's so small that you'll see these little dots right here, and that's not good because later down the line it's going to cause issues, and we don't want that. And that's why I was kind of like, oh, you're going to have this issue where your UV shells are so small that even if you resize it, it won't resize properly. So if I just resize it, it's so small that it just stays as points the whole time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one, go to transform, um, textile density. This is going to be an important conversation topic. Um, I find it really important to get this right straight out the back. Because I resized my character to be human sized in actual world size, this character should have about the textile density of 10, and 10 is pretty decent. So what I do is I have a map size of 1024, and I'm going to divide it by 100. So it's going to be 10.24, and that's going to be my set. And that's a little too big, but once you kind of get the hang of it, yeah, so we'll actually make this 5.12 because it's a little too big. So I'm going to just set it there. Let's select these the feet ones, and then resize it. So notice what happened. These points are so small that they just don't want to unwrap properly. So I'm going to go shift right click, optimize. That's good. I like that a lot. And if you actually do a view UV distortion, you'll see that there is some distortion on the heels because we didn't cut it and it's extruded out. So you'll have issues there. So let's fix that really fast. So shift or just right click and go to edges. I am going to turn off the distortion. I'm going to press 7 or 7 on the UV editor. And I'm going to do this. I don't want to cut this. I don't want to cut that. But I do want to cut. I do want to cut that. So shift right click and cut. I do want to, I might just resew this back together. So I'm gonna go, I select the edge and I just went to move and sew, and it should have been attached where it should, to the leg portion. So let's actually get this to the right size. Let's see if we set it to 512. There we go. So it resizes it once you have a good idea of this. Even this one should have been properly resized. There we go. But yeah, if you don't cut it and then if you just consistently keep unfolding, that's a common issue. So just be careful of that. Okay, so let's keep moving. I am going to go to edges. I am going to select that one. I'm going to deselect these two because that's where the leg UV seams end. Shift right click and cut. So let's select the legs, UV shells, legs, and unfold, unfold. And while we're at it, let's also set it to the right size. And so these two are finished. The leg is unwrapped. I'm just going to set it aside. So I just want to see how it looks. So these two look very consistent, and notice how it's the same box size. Again, if I go to distortion, which is 7, or under view, it's a UV distortion, no issues with stretching. That's a good thing. So let's turn off that. I'm going to go to the body, and let's see. Let's cut it right at the neck edge, and right there. and right there. So that should be a good loop. Cut. So notice how the head UV shell is likely to be super small. Let's set that. That's better. Let's cut the arms out. UV shells. Nope. Edges. Right there. Right there. Right there. And right there. That should look like a good loop. So cut. And while we're at it, let's cut it at the wrist as well. And cut. Yeah, so let's fix the chest first. UV shell. Okay. I personally like to just cut from here, or I might go up one edge and just cut it right there. And it should be mirrored on the other side. And I do like having my front body separate from my back. It's just easy. Sometimes some people do like to stitch one side together. It's easy that way. So let's go to V shells and shift right click, unfold, unfold. Oh, seems like I didn't. Yeah, let's try that again. Unfold. Yeah. Oh, so right here, I didn't seem to get the top part. So let's cut it right here to right here. Shift right click, unfold, unfold on the UV shells. Seems like there's an issue. It didn't cut. Front, back, and unfold. Should be good. All right. Let's get the arms a little better. Let's get the textile density. Seems like it's still in a loop, so let's make sure. Let's do the hand first, just a little bit. So edges. And I am going to redo this one. Same thing with this one. And this one. And let's do cut right there. Perfect. So once I select the hand, UV shells, and it seems like I didn't follow the edge yet. Edge. And let's see. Perfect. That goes a little bit not where I want. So I'm just going to undo that. And I'm just going to select from here to here. And from here to here. Cut. Perfect. So let's select the UV shells. Shift right click, unfold, and unfold. I can't see it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set. And it seems like there's a textile density issue. Let's go to UV shells. Select that, and set it. All right, so there's that issue again, and see like how consistently like this issue is just following me throughout the whole process. I always make sure that where is this UV set? Yeah, there's gonna be an issue. Um, I don't like this at all. So let's see if we can try to fix it. Yeah, see that's an issue. 5.12 get. Sorry, oops. 5.12 set. Let's see what this error is. Error says division by 0, and that's where there's a big problem. So what's likely to happen is I'm going to go select the UV shell, this one. I'm going to say create and automatic. And although it ruined everything I just did, I am going to make sure that it'll sew back all the, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Let's fix these. I'm gonna just select all these because I'm way too lazy to go in. I'm just gonna select those UV edges and just say move in so, and then I'm gonna just redo it because that's a common issue, and just be careful when you're doing it because that's not fun to fix. Okay, and the hand should be pretty good right now. So let's select those, unfold, unfold, and that's better. Let's just say that. If you want, you can have each finger by itself, but it's gonna be up to you as the artist to select what you want. I am going to go along this edge and unfold. Yeah, I'm going to cut along that edge for the shoulder or for the full hand arm, I guess. Nope, wrong one. Shift right click. Seem to be not in shells. So shift right click, unfold, unfold. And let's make sure it's on the right size. Yeah, so let's make sure the hands are also on the right size. Perfect. So let's move these out of the way. And that should be good. Once you've done that, let's press 7 and you'll see that all the hand, all the body, and the feet, there is no distortion. Maybe here just a little bit, but it's so small and minute that it really doesn't matter at that point. Yeah, so let's just do the head and then that should be it. So let's turn off the distortion by pressing 7. I usually start the head cut right here. I go a little bit in, and then from here, I'll just go to right about the cheek. Let's cut that. And then next thing we're gonna do is cut the eyes out. That's so weird to say, but yeah. Right there. And let's cut that. Should be, and also the lips. because these are extruded, and extruded faces are usually cut. So let's see how we can, so the inside of the mouth is really tough to get into. So what I do is I just select UV shell since I cut around the lip, and then I press Control-1, and it'll isolate to just the mouth. For the, since I'm selecting edges for the mouth, I'd be careful when selecting loops. Just because once you select that loop, it'll actually extend out into the rest of the unhidden, or rest of the hidden body as well. So we'll cut it right to there, and let's cut in the UV editor, and let's see what you get. Actually, let's not cut that one. Shift, right click, and move in so. So this should all be cut properly now. So let's go to UV shells, select all of them, isolate to just the full body, and shift right click, unfold. It's going to take some time. Looks like it's pretty decent. I'm going to make sure that all of these are selected and they're also set to the right textile density. And once I do that, I actually I'll orient these. So let's do that first. So shift right click, orient shells. If you don't find it there, it's okay. It's right here as well. Under the UV toolkit, arrange layout, orient shells is right there. I see some issues with the orientation. So I'll just go to edge, select one, orient, select another, and orient. Actually, I'll just go orient to edge, and it'll actually make it even flat to the edge. Since that edge loop is right along the middle of the body, it's easy to orient to that. Orient to edge right here. I don't like how that is. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to select that UV shell, and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. And it's under transform. I always have this open like that. So let's keep going. This one as well. Let's go to edges and just orient like that. Orient to edges. Feet need to be oriented as well. Orient to edge. It's pretty decent. Let's do the shoulder. That's the deltoid, and I clicked it right there. So orient, I don't like that this is, I can't select this, so I need to turn off symmetry. So shift, control, right click, symmetry, turn off. I can select that, and then I'll just rotate it. Perfect. Next thing, I think all of these should be done, but here are a few others. Let's move this out of the way. These are the eyes and the mouth. So I am actually not sure. Let's optimize it. There you go. And that looks about right. And same with the eyes. I'm just going to optimize it and unfold it just to be sure. It didn't change that much, so it should be fine. Since I unfolded it and optimized it, I will always make sure that the textile density is the right size, so I'll reset it for all of them. And once that's done, if we go to checkerboard, you'll see that all of these are the right size. Hands are same square. There may be a little bit of distortion, but if you unfold it, it will be pretty square. This is actually really good. I like this. And if we press 7 as well, turn off this checkerboard, there is really not that much distortion other than where I did the cuts. If you want to go and do more, that's up to you. But I like what I have, and I think it's pretty decent. So yeah, that's gonna. So then next step is the last step. I need to lay out within the UV set, 0 to 1 space. So I'm gonna go to so shift right click, layout is right here, and I'm going to do the checkbox because I have different settings. I want to lay these out into either 1024, 2048. You can go higher if you want better textures. I'm just going to reset it and just go through it. Let's see. So first things, always use Unfold 3D. If you don't see it, if you go to Windows, Settings, Preferences, Plugin Manager, just type Unfold. Make sure that both of these are checked. I'm going to close that and then just reopen it. Next thing, I just do a fixed non-manifold geometry. You don't want this in your mesh anywhere. If you do, what's going to happen is that your rigging is going to be miserable. So yeah, I'm going to do a 1024. I'm going to just pack it once. So this iterations, it just does like, it packs it once and then again and again till the number of times it requests, just so that it fixes out any layout issues. I just do it once, and if I see like it doesn't lay it out properly, I'll just redo it myself. I do not want it to overlap, so I don't overlap. I don't want to stack similar on this one. You can, it will save you some space, but for this character, I don't think I need to stack it. Pre-shell rotation, I turned it off because I've rotated myself, and I don't want yeah, so I don't want the rotations to be done by the beforehand. Also scaling, I made sure the textile density was right. So I'm gonna turn off pre-scaling as well. I am gonna allow for rotation, but I'm only going to do it by steps of 90 degrees because I oriented these shells to be 90 exactly straight up and down. And that's because I want it to be I don't want the textures to be aliased. And you'll see that, like you'll see checkered boxes in your texture, and you don't want that. And then maximum of 360. If you go higher than that, it's just like, why? Because once it does it within the 360, it doesn't really matter. I will match the texture map size to be what I put above. Padding units, I do pixels, and I do 10 since it's a 1024, and then I'll do 5 for this. The tile padding is what's around one UV space, so it'll give you some padding so that you can have more texture on there. And if the texture falls outside of this UV scene, sometimes it doesn't do it properly. Especially if you're doing it in Substance Painter, it's a good idea to have a little top padding and a little shell padding as well. Shell distribution I keep as is. I want it in the UV space of 1, 1. I use a full square, and I don't want, usually I'll say turn off scaling because we've done proper character sizes. in the roll space and also did the proper textile density. But I'm just going to say uniform just to be safe. Um, and that should be good. And if I lay out, it should do a pretty decent job. And let's see what we get. All right, I think this one should be flipped. Maybe I can just move this up a little, or even move it to the side. This one, once it's selected, I can move it here, maybe rotate it the other way. Yeah, so you kind of need to mess with it a little bit. But so so that I'm not doing, just so that I want to fix this, it's not really necessary to rotate just that. I'm just gonna be lazy and just rotate all of this 90 degree or 180, and I'm gonna call it a day. I'm pretty happy. There's no distortion, and if I turn off the distortion coloring and do checkerboard, it's all consistent, and you really can't go wrong there. Hope that helped. Best of luck.